Okay, we are back with more Tales to Chill Your Bones. Book 3 of the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark series. I guess I bought it for $2. Written by Buki. Doesn't sound like the Alvin Schwartz we're used to hearing too. Okay. Why not? About book. Dive into the chilling world of More Tales to Chill Your Bones by Alvin Schwartz, where the age-old tradition of storytelling meets spine-tingling folklore. This captivating collection, part of the beloved Scary Story series, okay, so I'll write about that, features an array of eerie, humorous, and fantastical tales that are sure to send shivers down your spine. Encounter the mysterious wolf girl, unlock the secrets of a purse filled with glowing-eyed men, and discover how to sidestep a fateful appointment with death. Accompanied by Stephen Gamo's haunting illustrations, these over 2 dozen thrilling stories and a chilling song are perfect for reading alone or sharing in the dark, inviting both laughter and fear. Okay, let's have a look, shall we? About Alvin Schwartz is a prolific author of over 50 books primarily focused on folklore and wordplay, with a particular emphasis on engaging young readers. His storytelling is celebrated for its ability to captivate and intrigue, setting him apart from another writer of the same name known for comic strips featuring Superman and Batman, as well as the novel The Blow Top, which does make me think if I should also read comics online. Is that allowed? I can do that, right? I do not see why not. Okay. Should I skip the summary? Alright, so chapter 1. Strange and scary things. Okay, strange and scary things. In this chapter of More Tales to Cheer Your Bones, Alvin Schwartz reflects on the age-old tradition of telling scary stories for entertainment, a practice dating back to pioneer times. He paints a vivid picture of how people, both in the past and today, gather in cozy spaces like cabins or homes, turning off the lights and enjoying each other's company while munching on popcorn and indulging in spine-chilling tales. I got my tea here, so I hope you got yours. Schwartz highlights that our fascination with fear comes from the safety of storytelling. There is no real danger, just the thrill of a good scare. He introduces various kinds of scary stories, ghosts, witches, vampires, and even humorous takes on fright. These tales have roots in real experiences or perceptions passed down through generations worldwide. A key character in this chapter is Mamalius. Mamalius, a young prince from Shakespeare's The Winter's Tale. He begins to tell a spooky tale about the sprites and goblins, but his story is abruptly cut short when his mother is taken away. Wait, didn't I read this one before? I already read this one. Wow. What kind of book is this? One moment, please. Okay, I'm back, but I think I am out of the other book, so I have decided to go to my all-time favorite scary books, R.L. Stein's Fear Street. You might be familiar with that one. So our Fear Street story for today is what's the one called? The First Horror. I read this in high school. I think that I read the first horror in high school. Right, so dramatic reading and maybe a little bit of dramatic voices. We'll see how that goes. Let us begin. Okay. Prologue, 1960. Whoa! Look out! Jimmy Lunt stumbled in the darkness. He grabbed the banister with his free hand and caught himself. Look out, man! His friend Andy Skoutsky warned from the top of the stairway. We don't need any more accidents on this job. How come there are no basement lights? Jimmy called over his shoulder as he carefully continued down the narrow stairway. How come? How come nothing works on this job? Andy replied with some bitterness. His work boots thudded loudly as he followed Jimmy down to the basement. How come nothing has gone right? How come we lost 3 guys building this stupid house? Morrison is getting out of the hospital today, Jimmy reported. After that shock he got, I never thought they'd get him breathing again. Jimmy shuddered. Morrison turned blue, man. I saw him. He really was blue. I don't want to think about it, Andy muttered, his flashlight darting over the concrete basement floor. You know, I was there when the big guy Jones fell off the roof. No wind, no breeze, no nothing. But off he went, sailing head first. Poor guy. I'm just glad school is starting in a week and we'll be done with this stupid summer job, Jimmy said, shifting the heavy gallon can to his other hand. Now where are these cracks we're supposed to caulk? This foundation was just poured 2 months ago, and already there are cracks. This is a bad job. This is a bad luck job, Andy muttered. Still thinking about all the trouble they had. Yeah, Jimmy agreed quickly. 99 Fear Street. I wouldn't live here, man. Not on a bet. This place is bad news. Well, you know what they say about Fear Street. And you heard about the bodies they found here when they were digging in the foundation. Huh? Bodies? Jimmy reacted with surprise. Yeah, they had to stop the bulldozers. There were all these unmarked graves down here, and he pointed straight down. Andy, can we stop talking about it? Jimmy replied with a shudder. No more stories, okay? I just want to patch up these cracks. Then I am going to jump into my Impala and bomb over to Waynesburg Bridge. There's a Beach Boys concert tonight. Huh? Andy grabbed his friend's shoulder. Since when do you drive an Impala? Well, it's my dad's, Jimmy admitted reluctantly. He let me drive it today. Andy's flashlight swept over the white concrete walls. There are the cracks. Oh, there are the cracks, he said. Open the can. Let's get started. Jimmy dropped to his knees beside the wall, and Andy held the flashlight. Jimmy began prying a screwdriver under the lid to open the can of caulking. Ow! Jimmy cried out as the screwdriver slipped and the bridge dove deep into his hand. Oh man. Careful, Andy cried too late. Jimmy, let's see, Jimmy pulled the screwdriver blade from his throbbing hand. As his friend raised the light to it, he watched the dark blood trickle onto the concrete floor. Ow, man, that hurts! Andy leaned down to examine the wound. You really stabbed yourself, Jimmy. You better run upstairs and get a bandage. Yeah, I guess, Jimmy replied quietly, staring at his hand. Stupid screwdriver, he tossed the tool against the wall. I don't believe this. Climbing to his feet, he let out an angry groan and furiously kicked the wall with the toe of his heavy work boot. Both boys uttered cries of surprise as a crack appeared in the wall. Oh man, more work for us, Andy complained. In the circle of yellow light, they watched the crack grow wider. An inch, 2 inches. Then they heard scuttling sounds. The scratch of tiny footsteps. Hey, Jimmy exclaimed as the first long-snouted rat poked its head out the crack. This is a new house. Where did the rats come from? The rat scuttled out into the light, followed by another rat, then 3 more. Jimmy gaped down at the tiny black eyes, the glowing gray fur, the snake-like pink tails. Hey, get lost, Andy shouted. He kicked at the nearest rat, missed, then raised his eyes in time to see the black shadow start to wriggle out from the crack. Jimmy saw it too. Both boys stepped back, their eyes wide with surprise. At first they thought it was a snake, but then the shadow grew and changed shape. It floated out of the crack in the wall, darkening, rising up, then sweeping around them. It swirled faster and faster, surrounding the 2 boys, then lowering and covering them like a dark, heavy blanket. They didn't even have time to struggle or cry out. When the billowing shadow lifted a few seconds later, they were dead. Both of them, sprawled open-mouthed and wide-eyed on the concrete floor, surrounded by the screeching rats. Now, Chapter 1. How old is the house? Callie Fraser asked. Is it really old? It's pretty old, Mr. Fraser replied, slowing the car for a stop sign. I think it was built in the early 60s. It needs work, Callie's mother chimed in. Her eyes focused out the passenger window on green lawns. The house hasn't even been lived in for years. I don't think it's even been lived in, Mr. Fraser said, making a left onto a street called Park Drive. Huh. The house is over 30 years old and no one's ever lived in it? Callie's twin sister, Cody, asked shrilly, leaning forward from the back seat. How come? Stop shoving me, their 9-year-old brother James said grumpily. He was sitting between Callie and Cody and had been complaining the whole way to Shadyside. Don't touch me. I'm not touching you, Cody declared. Yes, you are, James insisted. Move over. I wouldn't touch you. You've got cooties, Cody explained. Do we still do cooties? Cody exclaimed. Well, you got dog breath, James shouted. You stink. Stop it, James, Mr. Fraser called back sharply. We're almost there, I think. He glanced over at his wife, Could you check the map? Are we going the right way? I think that's the high school, her mother replied, struggling to unfold the map. The Shadyside High School? Callie cried. I didn't picture it like that. It's so old-fashioned looking, Cody finished her sister's sentence for her. Callie and Cody were fraternal twins, not identical twins. But they were always finishing each other's sentences and thinking the same things at the same time. They passed by the school quickly. Its windows were dark, the windows all shut. Callie caught a glimpse of an empty football stadium behind the school. Two teenage girls on bikes rode slowly along the sidewalk, laughing happily. Callie sighed. She wondered what it would be like to start 11th grade in a new school. I forgot there are usually teenagers in this story, 11th grade in new school. Oh well, I thought they were like 12 years old though. Oh well, I have all summer to worry about it, she told herself. These houses are nice. Is this our new neighborhood? Cody asked. Can I have a dog? James demanded. You promised I could have a dog when we moved. We're going the wrong way, dear, Mrs. Fraser said softly, biting her bottom lip. I think you have to turn around. Fear Street is the other way. Mr. Fraser uttered an unhappy groan. What kind of a name is Fear Street? Cody demanded. That's so weird. Who would name a street Fear Street? When can I get a dog? Can I get it today? James asked. I think the street was named after one of the town's early settlers, Mrs. Fraser replied. Replied Fretley, still studying the road map. It was named after Mr. Street, Callie joked. She took pride in her sense of humor. She was always cracking jokes and making puns. It was one of the ways she differed from her twin. Cody was smart and quick, but she didn't have as much of a sense of humor. James gave Cody's shoulder a hard shove. Stop pushing me! He screamed. He leaned toward the front seat. What about my dog? The dog will be for all of us, Cody told him. No way, James insisted. He's mine. They promised. Mr. Fraser braked the car and eased into the curb. Please, he wailed. Could we please have 5 minutes of silence? Just till I find the house, please? Everyone was silent for at least 10 seconds. Then as his father eased the car away from the curb, James asked, So when do I get the dog? Mr. Fraser pulled the car up the gravel driveway. About 10 minutes later, Callie strained forward to see her new house through the windshield. But there were so many old shade trees covering the front yard. The house was nearly buried in darkness. 99 Fear Street, everyone out, Callie's father announced cheerfully. They piled out of the car, stretching their arms and gazing through the sprawling house that awaited them. Well, it's big at least, Cody said quietly. Callie could see the disappointment on her sister's face. It's really big, Mr. Fraser said enthusiastically. Wait till you see your bedrooms. Cramped in that old apartment. Wait until you see your bedrooms. Just think, their mother chimed in. You two won't have to share a room anymore. We were so cramped in that old apartment. You kids won't know what to do with all the space. I'll know what to do, James declared. I'm going to have my own game room with a widescreen TV for my Super Nintendo and a real pinball machine. Good luck, Callie told James sarcastically, rolling her eyes. She reached down and messed up his wavy red hair. He jerked away from her, playfully swinging a fist in her direction. Isn't this great? Oh, isn't this great? Mr. Fraser exclaimed, his dark eyes glowing behind his silver-framed glasses. Isn't this great? Our own house. Kelly forced a smile to her face. She could see that everyone else in the family was forcing a smile too. The house wasn't exactly great. In fact, it was really dark and depressing. Between the gnarling old trees and the lawn's wild, tall weeds, the lawn's wild, tall weeds poked up at every angle through the thick clumps of uncut grass. Fallen tree limbs littered the ground. The 2.5-story house was nearly as wide as the yard. Its gray shingles were stained with brown streaks and were weather-beaten. The dark window shutters were peeling, several were missing. Two upstairs windows appeared to stare back at Callie like dark, unseeing eyes. The gutter at the side of the house was bent and hanging loose. Stained glass windows on either side of the front door had once been beautiful. But now the panes and glass were faded and cracked. The pillars supported the roof of the small porch tilted at an awkward angle and appeared about to topple. Callie swept her blonde hair behind her slender shoulders. She felt a cold shiver run down her back. It's such a beautiful sunny day, she told herself, staring up through the thicket of trees. Yet no sunlight filters down to the house. No light at all. It's nearly as dark as night in this yard, and the house is so cold and uninviting. It's going to take some work, Mr. Fraser said suddenly, as if reading Callie's gloomy thoughts. But that's why we got such a good deal on it. I think it's cool, James chimed in. He picked up a piece of gravel from the driveway and heaved it at a fat tree trunk. The stone made a loud thunk as it hit it. Get those worried expressions off your faces, Mrs. Fraser said to Callie and Cody. We'll work on the house till it feels like home. She raised her eyes to the overhanging trees. First thing we'll do is cut down some of the trees and let the light in. The house is haunted. I know it is, Cody burst out all at once. Callie laughed. You and your ghosts, she said, rolling her eyes. You thought our apartment was haunted too, remember? And it turned out to be a squirrel trapped in the wall. But this house is old, Cody insisted. Old and creepy. I've read so many books about haunted houses. One book said, You've really got to stop reading all those books, Mrs. Fraser murmured. Lots of old houses are haunted by spirits of the people who used to live in them, Cody continued, ignoring her mother. Lots! But no one ever lived in this house, Callie declared. You're going to be the first one to haunt it, Cody. Callie stretched her hands straight out and let out a long, ghost-like wail. Give me a break, Cody moaned. You're not funny, Callie. I get a little sick of you making fun of me all the time, you know? Callie cut her ghost howl short, startled by Cody's anger. Sorry, she murmured. Really? Really? Callie never wanted to hurt her sister's feelings. She knew that Cody was jealous of her in some ways. Whoa. Jealous. In some ways. Callie is the pretty one. Callie is the funny one. Callie is the one with all the friends. Those were Cody's complaints when she was feeling down, feeling sorry for herself. Callie always tried to encourage her sister, always tried to boost her spirits to remind her of her own terrific qualities. Maybe there's a ghost in my room, James exclaimed excitedly. Then I'd have someone to talk to at night. Enough ghost talk. You guys are giving me the creeps, Mr. Fraser said. He placed one hand on Callie's shoulder and one hand on Cody's shoulder and gently guided them back to the driveway. Let's start unpacking and go inside. Yeah, James cried enthusiastically. Following them to the U-Haul trailer hitched behind the car. I want to see my new room, and I want to see where my game room is going to be. And I want to see where my dog is going to sleep. Whoa, Mrs. Fraser said softly. One thing at a time. Mr. Fraser pulled the trailer door open. He handed Callie the first carton. Hey, this is heavy, Callie cried. Be careful with it, her mother warned. It's got our good china inside. James stuck his foot out and pretended to try to trip Callie. Oh no. You're a riot, Callie told him, making a face at her brother. Remind me to laugh later. Walking unsteadily, both hands gripping the bottom of the heavy cardboard carton, Callie made her way toward the front door. Sorry. Wait. What do I get to carry? Give me something heavy too, she heard her brother declare behind her on the driveway. Callie was nearly to the front door when she heard the loud cracking sound above her head. It sounded like dress fabric ripping, only much louder. She looked up in time to see a heavy tree branch break off the tree. No time to scream. She dropped to her knees and hands shot up to cover her head. First the shadow of the branch fell over her. Then the branch itself plummeted and landed with a shattering crash. Okay, I need a moment for it to do chapter 2. Alright, now, Chapter 2. Kelly heard the shrill screams of her family. Her heart pounded in her chest. She sucked in a deep breath of cool, damp air. She blinked once, twice. Kelly forced herself to take another breath, then another, until her breathing started to happen automatically. Gazing down, she saw that the crash had been the crash of China. When the branch fell, she had dropped the carton. She gazed at the branch. One end had caught on the porch roof. The porch roof had stopped it from falling on her. The roof, she saw, was damaged. The heavy branch had driven a hole right through it. The crash of China. Wait, that's it? The crash of China. The crunch of the branch through the shingled roof. Not her skull. I'm alive, Callie thought. She turned to her family. Her legs trembled. Her knees felt all rubbery. She didn't know if she could stand. With cries of relief and joy, they had all surrounded her. Her mother wrapped her in a tight hug. "You're okay? You're okay?" Her father repeated like a chant. They all stood there. They all stood still for a long time in the shade in front of the house. Stood gratefully glad to be alive. "You broke the china," James' accusing voice cut through the silence finally. Kelly glanced down at her brother. He was bent over the open carton, shaking his head, studying the shattered contents of the box. Then suddenly, they all began to talk at once. What a great greeting," Callie declared shakingly. She stared at the fallen branch tilting out from the porch. Mr. Fraser made his way over to it and with great effort hoisted it off the roof and lowered it to the ground. "Now we have even more work to do," he said, sighing. "We have to fix this porch." Callie opened her mouth to say something, but she stopped when the man appeared behind her father. The man stepped silently out of the darkness, his face almost all in shadow, his eyes fixed on Callie, and as he drew closer, she saw that he had the strangest smile on his face, a tense smile that appeared to be painted in place. "Hello, everyone okay?" the man said in a thin, scratchy voice. What does a thin, scratchy voice sound like? Let me attempt that. "Hello? Everyone okay?" Now I've lost the line. Where are you? Mr. Fraser spun around, startled, but his expression quickly softened. "Mr. Lurie? When did you arrive?" he asked. Mr. Lurie, Callie remembered, was the real estate agent, the man who had sold her parents this house. As he stepped over the fallen tree branch and made his way toward them, his smile didn't waver. He was a short, wiry man dressed in an expensive-looking gray suit. He appeared to be fairly young, but his hair was white and cut very short, almost like brush bristles. He had round black eyes that remained locked on Callie. "I came to welcome you," the real estate agent said, finally turning his gaze to Callie's parents. "But just as I pulled up, I saw the branch fall. I'm so sorry." He shook his head, but his smile didn't fade. "We're okay," Callie's father replied. He shook Mr. Lurie's hand. "The kids are seeing the house for the very first time." "And you're disappointed?" Mr. Lurie asked, staring again at Callie. Why is he always staring at Callie? A little, Kelly confessed. It's kind of dark. And run down, Cody answered glumly. I'm sure your parents will do a wonderful job with it, Mr. Lorry replied. It's basically a very solid house. It just hasn't been lived in. How come? James demanded. How come no one ever lived here? Mr. Lorry's smile faded. Just unlucky, he muttered, lowering his eyes to the ground. Callie didn't understand what he meant. Did he mean the owners were unlucky? The house was unlucky? The real estate people were unlucky? Who was unlucky? She started to ask, but Mr. Lorry was handing her father an extra set of keys and saying his farewells. I won't keep you, he said, backing away. I just wanted to say welcome to Shadyside, and best of luck. With a quick wave, he headed down the driveway, walking briskly, swinging his arms stick-like at his side. Kelly watched him until he disappeared into the darkness of the trees that lined the street. Then she picked up the carton of china and shook it. The shattered plates made a jangling sound inside. Sorry about that, Callie told her mother. Put it down and let's go inside, Mrs. Fraser replied. I want you to see your new home. The inside of the house was even less inviting than the outside, Callie thought. As the family explored the new house, Callie couldn't help but notice every stain on the plaster, the cracks in the walls, the loose floorboards, and that creaked and groaned as she stepped on them. The house is so dark, Callie thought unhappily. So dark and damp. It feels as if the sun has never shone on it, as if the house is blanketed in darkness. Callie shivered. How will I ever feel at home in this ugly, dark place, she wondered. Callie, what's wrong? Her mother's voice broke into her thoughts. Huh? Callie blinked hard. What, Mom? You were making the sourest face, Mrs. Fraser said, putting a hand on Callie's shoulder. Are you okay? Yeah, sure, Mom, Callie answered quickly. She didn't want to say that the house could be a set in a horror movie. What would be the point? Her parents had bought it. They were stuck there. I'm just tired, I guess, she told her mother. Well, come see your room, Mrs. Fraser said, pushing open the door. The floorboards creaked as they all stroked into Callie's new room. Callie stopped in the doorway. The walls were dark and peeling. The walls were dark and peeling. The closet door was wrapped and stuck open. Warped and stuck open, my bad. I got it. English. Damn. Alright. The brown carpet had a round black stain in the center of the room. Big, huh? Mr. Fraser asked eagerly, smiling at Callie. Yeah, it's big, alright, Callie replied without enthusiasm. It's a lot bigger than my room, Cody complained. How come Callie got the biggest room? Callie struggled to close the closet door, my bad. But it was too warped to move. Want to trade rooms? She asked her sister. Well, no, Cody decided. But I don't see why you should automatically get the bigger room. Stop complaining, Cody, Mrs. Fraser said sharply. We're all tired. And I know this house is a bit of a shock, but it'll feel like home before you know it. Right, Mr. Fraser agreed quickly. A little plant, a little wallpaper, some new carpet, and... Where's my game room? James interrupted. We've seen all the bedrooms, so where's my game room? Well, there isn't really a There isn't really a game room, Mr. Fraser replied. I'm sorry, James, but how about the basement? Could we have a game room in the basement? Could we have a game room in the basement, Dad? Remember Billy Marcus's house? He had a ping pong table and a pool table downstairs. Remember? I don't know, Mr. Fraser said thoughtfully. The basement in this house isn't finished. It would take a lot of work, James. Let's check out the basement, James exclaimed. He shoved Callie out of his way as he burst toward the door. Come on, let's check it out. I'll bet there's room for a pinball machine and everything down there. Girls, go with him, Mrs. Fraser ordered. And be careful, their father added. It's probably filthy down there. Callie and Cody obediently hurried after their brother. James was already halfway down the stairs to the first floor, the banister swaying slightly as his hand slid over it. They found the stairs to the basement behind a door in the back hallway. James clicked the light switch and a dim light bulb flickered on the bottom of the stairs. Holding onto the walls, the three of them made their way down the narrow, steep wooden stairs. Callie led the way, followed by James, then Cody. It took Callie a moment to realize why her face had started to tingle and itch. Oh, yuck! Cobwebs, she cried, frantically trying to brush the sticky webbing off of her face. This is really creepy, James said shortly. They stopped under the cone of yellow light from the bare light bulb. Callie had brushed most of the cobwebs off, but her face still itched. She stared into the basement that stretched around them. Cobwebs hung down from the metal beams that dotted the room. Against the far wall, a huge dust-covered furnace hovered. Its vents reached up to the ceiling like arms. Callie heard the scratching sounds first. What's that? She asked, grabbing James by the shoulders. Huh? What's what? He cried. Shh! Listen, Callie ordered. I hear it, Cody said. Soft scratching sounds. Callie gasped as three rats scuttled into view. Their eyes glowed red in the light. Their pink tails swept the concrete floor as they ran. Oh! Callie heard Cody utter a low cry right behind her. Rats! James exclaimed. Eyes glowing angrily, the three rats charged forward, hissing as they ran. They're attacking! Cody shrieked. Get upstairs, Callie shoved James toward the steps. And then she let out a terrified wail as the biggest rat leaped onto her leg. Chapter 3. No! Ignoring her terror, Callie kicked out with all her might. The rat hissed shrilly as it went flying, its four legs scrambling in the air. It hit the floor with a disgusting plop. Callie stumbled to the stairs as the other two rats darted toward her. Cody and James were ahead of her, screaming all the way up the stairs. Up the stairs into the hallway, breathing hard, her chest heaving, Callie slammed the basement door behind her. What's wrong? What's going on? Mr. Fraser called, hurrying into the hall. What's all the screaming? Rats! All three of them shouted at once. Rats in the basement! Callie cried breathlessly. One of them jumped on Kelly's leg, James exclaimed excitedly. It was fat and disgusting. 3 rats. They attacked us, Cody added. Did they bite you? Mrs. Fraser cried, appearing behind her husband. Are you okay? Callie shook her head. It didn't bite me, it just jumped on me. I never heard of rats doing that, her mother said, shaking her head fretfully. Mr. Fraser sighed. He pulled off his eyeglasses and rubbed his eyes. One more problem to add to the list. We'll have to get an exterminator here right away. Yes, right away, Mrs. Fraser echoed, biting her lower lip. She forced a smile. Is anyone hungry? Mrs. Fraser asked. We should go into town and get some food. Before anyone could answer, the doorbell rang. Now who could that be? Mr. Fraser asked, frowning. Callie followed the others to the door. Her heart was still racing. She shuddered. She could feel the rat's spidery legs gripping her leg. Still hear its shrill hiss. Mr. Fraser pulled open the front door. A young man smiled in at them from the other side of the screen door. He had straight black hair down to the collar of his gray t-shirt. He wore gray denim overalls. His eyes were small and black beneath the bushy eyebrows, and he had a black mustache. Can I help you? Mr. Fraser asked. I saw the U-Haul, the man said, pointing. You just moving in? Mr. Fraser nodded. The man shifted his weight. Callie saw that he was big, very athletic looking. My name's Glenn Hackers, he said, his dark eyes peering in through the screen door. I'm a handyman. I mean, I do all kinds of work. I wondered if there's lots to be done here, Mrs. Fraser exclaimed, not waiting for Mr. Egger to finish. We could probably keep you busy for months, Mr. Hankers. Mr. Hankers smiled at that. Callie's father studied Mr. Hankers' face. Do you have references? He asked. Mr. Hankers nodded. I can supply them. I've done a lot of work for the people on Fear Street. Can you kill rats? James piped up from beside Callie. James, Mrs. Fraser cried. Got a rodent problem? Mr. Hankers said, smoothing his mustache with his fingers on one hand. The kids saw rats in the basement, Mr. Fraser reported unhappily. I can deal with them, Mr. Hankers said. I've got traps and I have spray. Well, we need someone to help, Mr. Fraser told him, eyeing him suspiciously. But if you're expensive... Mr. Hankers shook his head. I'm very reasonable, Mr. Fraser. I'm very reasonable, Mr. Fraser. You can pay me by the hour, or by the week, or even by the month. Callie's father glanced at his wife. She nodded. He turned back to Mr. Hankers, pushing open the screen door. I think you've got yourself a load of work here, beginning with killing those rats. When can you start? Right away, Mr. Hankers replied, smiling. He shook Mr. Fraser's hand. Just show me to the basement. Those rats are history. Later that night, her first night in her new bedroom, Callie sat in bed, writing in her diary. Dear diary, I wish I could tell you how happy I am, and how much I love my new house. But I can't. I never expected such a run-down, dark, gloomy, tacky place. Would you believe that my first day here, a tree nearly fell on my head, and I was attacked by rats? I get the deep shivers just thinking about it. Cody seems just to be as miserable as I am. James is the only one who's the least bit excited. But that's James. He gets excited about a new flavor of bubblegum. The movers arrived about an hour after we did. We all worked unpacking cartons tonight. What a mess. I've never seen anyone so stressed. Now I'm up in my big, ugly room, writing in my bed. Confession time. All day I kept thinking about Rick. I've been in Shadyside only one day and I miss him already. I wonder if he's been thinking about me. A couple of times I started to tell Cody how much I missed him, but I caught myself in time. I keep forgetting that Cody went out with Rick first. Oh, snap. I keep forgetting that she accused me of stealing him away from her. I mean, they went out only for one date, and it was Rick's choice to start seeing me. I didn't force him or anything. Poor Cody. I hope she'll have a better time here in our new town. She has such a messed up attitude, always blaming me for her problems. I hate it. I hate that she's so jealous of me. What am I supposed to do? Tomorrow we're going into town to look for summer jobs. I hope I find something great. I hope Cody does too. Kelly wanted to write more, but her eyelids were heavy, and her hand started to ache. She set the diary on the floor, turned off the light, and settled down under the covers. The ceiling creaked over above her. The house seemed to let out a long, low groan. Why do old houses do that? She wondered sleepily. Probably just to scare the people inside? Well, I'm not going to get scared, Kelly told herself, shutting her eyes. I'm too sleepy to get scared. The scrambling sound made her eyes pop open. Quick scratching noises above her head. She shuddered. Were there rats in this attic too? Ugly, hairy rats running around right above her head? Was the whole house crawling with the disgusting creatures? Mr. Hankers will have to check out the attic tomorrow, she told herself. She ignored the soft, scratching footsteps and forced herself to think about Rick. A few minutes later, she drifted into a deep, dreamless sleep. Right, where were we? Are you going to wear that to look for a job? Mrs. Fraser exclaimed, rolling her eyes in disapproval. Kelly hunched over the card table her dad had set up in the kitchen. She blinked her eyes, struggling to wake up. These jeans are clean, she told her mother irritably. And so is the t-shirt. The rest of my clothes are still packed. I don't think you'll help make a very good impression, Mrs. Fraser started to say. Kelly's father cut her off. Kelly looks fine, he said curtly. So does Cody. Thanks, Cody said, yawning. She had appeared in the kitchen wearing a pale pink polo shirt and crisp white denim jeans. Her short blonde hair was neatly held back in a white headband. Cold cereal for breakfast, Kelly's mother announced. I have to go grocery shopping this morning. Also, I couldn't find the balls. So you have to have it on a plate. Kelly laughed. Cold cereal on a plate. It doesn't get any better than this. Very amusing, her mother said, setting the box of cornflakes in front of Cody. I look gross, Cody whined, staring down miserably at her reflection in her plate. I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing the scariest sounds. I know this place is haunted. I know it is. Wait. Hold on. I know it is. Callie ignored her sister. I'm going to find a great job today, she said, giving herself a pep talk. I'm going to find a job where I'll meet all kinds of interesting, glamorous people, and it'll make me rich and famous before summer's over. Callie's parents laughed. They were used to her wild fantasies. Cody continued to stare down at her plate. I'm hoping maybe I can find a waitressing job, she grumbled. Are you sure you're twins? Mr. Fraser demanded, reaching for the cornflakes box. It was a question he asked a lot. Where's James? Callie asked. Still asleep, her mother replied, taking a place on the card table. I think he's afraid if he comes downstairs we'll put him to work unpacking cartons. He'll probably sleep all day, Callie exclaimed. They ate their plates of cornflakes in silence for a while. Know what? Know what we need in here? Mrs. Fraser said, putting down her spoon. Oh, Mrs. Fraser said, putting down her spoon. This kitchen is so damp and cold. We need some fresh air. She turned to Cody. Would you open the window? Let's see if it helps. We'll cut down the big maple in front of the window, Mr. Fraser said as Cody walked across the kitchen to the window. A little sunlight will help a lot. Callie watched Cody slide the window up. Leaning on the windowsill, Cody peered out into the backyard, taking deep breaths of fresh air. It's a pretty day, she reported. Callie turned back to her cereal. She was spooning her cornflakes into her mouth when she heard a loud slam. It sounded like a heavy knife blade slicing into a butcher block. A second later, Callie heard her sister scream of agony. My hands! My hands! Chapter 4. Mrs. Fraser got to the window first, her husband right behind her. Cody's screams were softer now, hoarse whispers of pain. My hands! My hands! Mrs. Fraser tugged the window up. Cody stumbled back, holding her arms out stiffly, like those of a marionette. Kelly had her hands clamped tightly over her mouth. She felt sick. She lowered her eyes, praying her sister was okay. Oh, my wrists, Cody moaned, still holding her arms in that strange position, sort of like begging a dog begging. My wrists. Mrs. Fraser hugged Cody. How awful, she murmured. Try moving your hands, Mr. Fraser instructed. See if you can move them. If your wrists are broken. No! I can move them, Cody announced. She winced in pain as she demonstrated, wiggling both her hands. Thank goodness they're not broken, her father said, letting out a long gasp and pinched the bridge of his nose between his finger and thumb. We'll put ice on them? We'll put ice on them, Mrs. Fraser said. She started to the refrigerator but stopped. Oh, we don't have any ice. We haven't made any yet. I think they're going to be okay, Cody said, testing testing first one wrist, then the other. I mostly was scared. It slammed down so fast. I don't think my hands were too badly hurt. She continued bending them, testing the wrists. How did it happen? Kelly asked, finally finding her voice. It was so strange, Cody replied, returning to the card table. The window was up. No problem. I was leaning on the sill to smell the fresh air. The window suddenly came crashing down with such a force. It was as if someone were pushing it. Mr. Fraser examined the window. He raised it, then lowered it a few times. Weird, he commented. Seems okay. He turned back to the others. When he finishes with the rats, I'll have Mr. Hankers take a look at it. Cody groaned, rubbed her tender wrists. Well, one good thing, she murmured to Kelly. The rest of the day has got to be better. At 5 that afternoon, Kelly found the place where she and Cody had agreed to meet. It was a small coffee shop called The Corner, located a few blocks from the high school. Callie stepped inside, breathed in the thick aroma of frying hamburgers and french fry grease, and searched for her sister. Not here yet, she realized, disappointed. She was bursting to tell Cody about her day. She slid into a booth in front of the window and glanced around. The restaurant was empty except for two teenage couples squeezed into the booth against the wall. They were laughing, sliding a salt shaker back and forth across the table as if they were hockey pucks. I wonder if they go to Shadyside High, Callie thought. She started to see a boy standing beside her table. He was very good looking, with wavy black hair, dark, friendly eyes that sort of crinkled at the sides, and a nose that looked as if it had been broken at least once. He had a small silver stud in one ear. He wore a grease-stained white apron over faded denim jeans and a blue t-shirt. How's it going? He asked Callie. Great, she replied, then immediately felt like a jerk for being so enthusiastic. You, want something? He asked, gesturing towards the kitchen behind the counter. Just a Coke, Callie told him. I'm waiting for my sister. She glanced at the window. No sign of Cody. Hey, Anthony! Pick up! A man's raspy voice shouted from the kitchen. Through the window behind the counter, Callie saw two hands set down plates with hamburgers. Is your name Anthony? She asked the boy. Hey, how'd you guess? He shot back, grinning. Callie laughed. I'm psychic. She gazed up at him playfully. Guess my name. Anthony's dark eyes lit up. You already told me, he said. It's Psychic. Weird name. Callie laughed. I haven't seen you here before, he said, fiddling with his apron. I just moved to Shadyside, she told him. My real name is Callie Fraser. Are you going to go to the Shadyside High in the fall? Anthony asked. Callie started to reply, but she was interrupted by the impatient voice from the kitchen. Anthony, pick up! Okay, coming, Anthony shouted. He turned back to Callie. I'll get your Coke. He hurried behind the counter to pick up the plates of hamburgers. Cody arrived a few seconds later, a little bedraggled. She had removed her headband and her hair was windblown and disheveled. She was rubbing one wrist. How'd it go? She asked Callie, sliding into the seat across from her. Did you get the job? Callie nodded. A wide grin spread across her face. I got a pretty good job, she told her sister. It's in a boutique called Too Cute. Okay. Like the number 2 cute. Huh? Too cute? What's that mean? Cody demanded, fiddling with her bangs. It's supposed to be a clothing store for couples. Too? Get it? Too cute? Cody stuck her finger down her throat and pretended to puke. Real cute, she muttered. Then she added, I knew you'd find a job. How about you? Callie asked. Cody shook her head. No luck. Well, you'll probably find one tomorrow, Callie said quickly. Cody glared across the table at her. Don't you ever get tired of trying to cheer me up? She snapped. Oh, she said a different tone then. Cody glared across the table at her. Don't you ever get tired of trying to cheer me up? She snapped. Callie opened her mouth to answer, but Anthony leaned over the table and interrupted. Here's your Coke, Callie, he said, setting it down. He turned to Cody. Hi, Callie's sister. What can I get you? Uh, Fries and a Sprite, she replied, her eyes on Callie. As soon as Anthony left, Cody leaned forward and whispered to her sister. He knows your name? You've already met a guy? He knows I'm your sister? Callie couldn't keep the smile from spreading across her face. We were just talking for a minute before you came in, she told her sister. He's kinda cute, don't you think? Cody leaned over the booth to study Anthony. Yeah, kind of, she answered. She turned back to Callie, frowning. Why didn't I get here first? She grumbled. Why are you always so lucky? It's not like he asked me out or anything, Callie replied defensively. He will, Cody said glumly, unable to hide her jealousy. He will. The sun was just starting to dip behind the treetops as Callie and Cody returned home. But as soon as they began to make their way up the gravel driveway, Callie noticed that it became dark as night. We're home, Callie called, leading the way into the front entryway. She tossed her bag down on the floor beside the coat closet and started into the dark living room. We're in the kitchen, Mrs. Fraser called. Any luck? Callie's father shouted. Yeah! Bad luck, Cody muttered behind Callie. Why doesn't anyone turn the lights on in here? Callie complained. Callie made her way through the dark room. Their old furniture looked small and unfamiliar in the living room. As Callie hurried toward the kitchen to tell her parents her news, she didn't see the small, dark creature perched on the arm of the couch. She didn't see it until it leapt onto her chest. Okay, break time. Wait, it's like a 2 minute, or a minute. Hold on. Okay. We're back. Oh, okay. Chapter 5. Chapter 5. A lamp flashed on. The creature raised its snout to Callie's throat. Down, Cubby, she heard Down, Cubby, she heard James shout. Get down, Cubby. It's a puppy, Callie realized, laughing. Oh my god. What did you think it was? A little dog licked her neck. Then it dove to the floor and scampered across the room to James. He scooped it up into his arms. For a moment I thought, Kai started to admit. Behind her in the living room entryway, Cody laughed. You thought it was a rat. It does kind of look like a rat. Don't say that about Cubby, James said angrily. Cubby's not a rat. Cubby's a Labrador. Oh, Labrador Retriever. He gave the dog some nose kisses. Oh, that's cute. Where did you get him? Callie asked, her heart still racing. Dad got him for me at the SPCA. He's mine, James said, hugging the dog tightly. The dog squirmed and struggled to get down to the floor. He's cute, Cody said. Why'd you name him Cubby? Because he looks like a cubby, James replied. Callie knew better than to question her brother's logic. Our first dinner in our new home, Mrs. Fraser said, smiling. She pulled her chair closer to the dining room table. Isn't this great? It's starting to feel like home, Mr. Fraser said, unfolding his napkin. I can't believe Callie thought Cubby was a rat, James announced, rolling his eyes. Let's not talk about rats at the dinner table, their mother said. Let's have a civilized dinner, okay? Okay, James? James burped loudly, then burst into giggles. That's not funny, Callie told him sharply. It's pretty funny, James shot back. Did Mr. Hackers get rid of the rats in the basement? Cody asked. He's working on it, Mr. Fraser replied. He was down there all day. Why are we talking about rats? Mrs. Fraser complained. I made a beautiful dinner. A big roast beef. Your favorite. Let's have some pleasant conversation. Cubby is the cutest dog in the world, James boasted. I'm glad you like him, Mr. Fraser replied, smiling across the table. We hired a housekeeper today, Mrs. Fraser told the girls, ignoring James. Would you believe she popped on the front steps, just like Mr. Hackers? That is strange. What's her name? Cody asked, spooning mashed potatoes onto her plate. Her name is Mrs. Nordstorm, her mother replied. She's starting tomorrow morning. She's kind of stern and sour-faced, but I have a hunch she'll be a really good housekeeper. The stern ones always are, Mrs. Fraser. Mr. Fraser pulled the roast beef platter closer and picked up the big carving knife. Hey, I just had an idea, he said, his eyes on Cody. Cody, how would you like to have a job right here? Cody's eyes opened wide with surprise. She dropped the serving spoon back into the mashed potato bowl. Huh? What do you mean? Well, there's so much work to be done, Mr. Fraser said, gesturing with the big, black-handed knife. Way too much for Mr. Hackers and me to do on our own. And you would love woodworking, and painting, and everything. Cody narrowed her green eyes at her father. You mean you want me to stay home and work on the house? Mr. Fraser nodded. Yeah. While Callie gets to dress up and go to town every day and meet people, Cody demanded. You know you like fix it work. Oh right, there we go. You know you like fix it work, Mrs. Fraser chimed in. I'll pay you by the hour, Mr. Fraser offered. It'll be like a real job. Lunch hour and everything. Well, Cody's expression turned thoughtful. It might be hard to find a job this late in the summer, she murmured, thinking out loud. I mean, everyone isn't as lucky as Callie. I'm the lucky one, James broke in. I got Cubby, and he's all mine. Okay, Dad, I'll do it, Cody decided, smiling back for the first time that evening. Great. Now carve the roast beef, dear, Mrs. Fraser said impatiently to her husband. Mr. Fraser climbed to his feet and bent over the meat platter, fork in one hand, carving knife in the other. This meat looks perfect, he said. It'll be cold if we don't eat it soon, Callie's mother urged. She raised her eyes to Callie. Would you do me a favor? I forgot the salt and pepper shakers. They're in the kitchen. Okay, Callie slid her chair and started making her way around the table. Don't step on Cubby, James warned. Where is the puppy anyway? Mrs. Fraser asked. Under the table, James replied. He's licking my shoe. James giggled. We have to teach that dog not to bother us while we're eating, Mr. Fraser said, leaning over to slice the meat. You can't let a puppy develop bad habits. Callie pressed back against the wall to squeeze behind her father's chair to get to the kitchen. She was nearly past him when she saw him lift the knife to start to carve. But then Mr. Fraser jerked forward, as if being shoved. His eyes bulged wide with shock, and the knife blade plunged deep into his side. Oh crap. Ow! Mr. Fraser let out a wail. The carving knife fell and landed heavily on the floor. Cubby went scampering away. Callie, you pushed me, Mr. Fraser cried. No, Callie exclaimed, raising her hands to her face as she backed away. She watched a bright red circle of blood form on the side of her father's shirt. You shoved my arm, Mr. Fraser accused her, gripping his side. No, I didn't touch you, Callie told him. Really, Daddy? There's no way I could have shoved the knife into you. I know, but Mr. Fraser's voice trailed off. He's bleeding, James announced. Yuck! Look at it. Mrs. Fraser was on her feet. She grabbed her husband's arm. Stop arguing with Callie. Let's get you upstairs. Let's get you upstairs and get that shirt off. See if you need stitches. Stitches? Mr. Fraser's eyes were unfocused behind his glasses. He didn't seem to understand what Mrs. Fraser was telling him. Is he in shock? Callie wondered. She leaned her back against the dining wall as she stared at the widening circle of blood on her father's shirt. Damn. Wording. Why did he accuse me of pushing him? Blood dripped onto the floor as Mrs. Fraser led her husband out of the dining room. Callie turned her gaze on Cody. To her surprise, Cody was still in her chair and had a terrified expression on her face. It was a ghost, she murmured. A ghost pushed his arm. I know it. Why did you say it? Why did you say it was a ghost? Callie demanded. Huh? Cody narrowed her eyes at her sister. It was later that night, after 11. Callie had just finished writing her diary entry. Cody had wandered into her room to chat. Their parents had returned from the emergency room at Shadyside General at about 9. Now they were in their room, asleep. Callie was sprawled on her bed, wearing the long striped nightshirt she liked to sleep in. Cody, still dressed, sat on the windowsill. A light breeze through the window, fluttering her hair. When Daddy stabbed himself, you said it was a ghost, Callie reminded her sister. Cody crossed over and sat down on the foot of Callie's bed. Poor Daddy. He needed 12 stitches. Callie pulled herself up higher against the headboard. Answer my question, she insisted. Why did you think it was a ghost? Well, you didn't shove Daddy's arm. I saw you, Callie. You didn't even come close to him. So... Callie groaned. So that made you automatically think it was a ghost? Cody's cheeks darkened to scarlet. I felt a presence in the room, Callie, she said, lowering her voice to a solemn whisper. A cold presence. Mist-like. I felt it float over the table, and then a second later I saw the knife plunge into Daddy. Stop it, Cody, Callie warned. Please, just stop it right now. Your ghost talk will only upset everyone. What makes you think you know everything? Cody demanded with sudden passion. She leaned closer to her sister, her nostrils flaring angrily. Stop rolling your eyes, Callie. You don't know everything. You don't know everything. I hate it when you act so smug and superior. Cody let out a frustrated cry. Mom and Dad didn't believe me either. Cody, you told this wild ghost story when they got back from the hospital? Cody nodded. It isn't a wild story. I felt something in the room. I thought they should know. She sighed. But they laughed at me too. Cody, listen to me, Kylie pleaded. There are no such things as ghosts. Really, I've read books that say there are ghosts, Cody shot back. Books by real scientists. Callie laughed. Cody jumped to her feet. She balled her eyes and her hands into fists. Don't laugh at me, Callie. I don't like everyone in this family laughing at me. Then don't be such a jerk, Callie replied. She shook her head. Ghosts, she muttered scornfully. You really are a pain, Cody cried. So are you, Callie shot back, feeling herself lose control. Cody stumped toward the door. Hey, if a moaning white sheet comes flying down the hall at you, be sure to duck, Callie called after her. Cody stormed into the hall. She then slammed the door behind her. What is her problem, Callie thought, shaking her head. Sometimes I can't believe we're twins. How can a sister of mine believe in ghosts? She clicked off her bedside lamp, then slid down into the bed and pulled the sheet over her head. She put the sheet over her. Through the open window, Callie could hear the whisper of wind through the trees in the backyard. She forced herself not to think about Cody, not to think about the frightening incident at dinner. Instead, she thought about the boutique, about Sally and Jean, the young couple who had hired her to work there. As she began to relax and feel drowsy, she found herself thinking about Anthony. Maybe I'll stop at the corner after work, she thought, smiling, just to say hi. Maybe I'll remind him I'm new in town and don't know anybody. Maybe I'll ask him to show me around. Thinking about these pleasant thoughts, Callie drifted to sleep. 3 hours later, she woke up, startled by a sound. The sky was black and starless outside her window. A heavy silence hovered over the house. Then she heard the sound again. A soft knocking on her bedroom door. 3 knocks. Then a pause. Then 3 more knocks. Faint and weak. Who's there? Callie's voice came out in a sleepy, choked whisper. She cleared her throat. Who's there? Cody? No reply. Silence. Then 3 more faint knocks. Gentle scrapes, as if someone too weak to pound. Who's there? Callie demanded more loudly. She lowered her feet to the floor and listened. No reply. Am I dreaming this? She wondered. What's going on? 3 more knocks. A pause. 3 more knocks. Callie took a deep breath and held it. She tiptoed quickly across the room. Then she grabbed the doorknob and yanked open her door. Chapter 7. No one there. Callie stared into the dim orange light cast by a tiny night light halfway down the hall. No one. An empty, silent hallway. Who's there? She whispered, suddenly chilled. No one's there. Cody's door was closed. James' door stood open a crack, revealing only darkness. Weird, Callie muttered softly. She pulled her door shut, hurried back to bed, and pulled the sheet over her chin. Shivering, she shut her eyes and heard 3 soft knocks. And then 3 more. Who's there? She demanded shrilly. Silence. Then 3 more knocks. Callie pulled the sheet over her head and pressed her ear into the pillow, trying to shout out the sound. I couldn't sleep. I heard strange noises all night, Cody complained. She rested her chin in her hands. She hadn't touched her toaster waffles. You'll get used to the sounds, Mr. Fraser said casually, wiping orange juice from his upper lip. Is there any more coffee, dear? Plenty. Mrs. Fraser stepped behind him with the coffee pot. How does your side feel this morning? Not great, Callie's dad admitted. He turned to Cody. I'm afraid we're going to have to go up on the I'm afraid you're going to have to go up the ladder this morning when we work on the porch roof. I don't think I can. He gripped his side. This thing is still throbbing, and I don't want to tear open the stitches. No problem, Cody told him. I like climbing ladders. She glared at Callie. Did you hear anything weird last night? Callie finished her orange juice, then shook her head. No, she lied. Not a sound. She didn't tell Cody about the strange knocking on the door. She wasn't in the mood to hear any more ghost talk from her sister. Mrs. Nordstorm, the new housekeeper, entered a few moments later. She was short, stout, gray-haired woman with lively dark eyes and a short stub of a nose. As she was pulling out mops and spoons to clean the kitchen, Mr. Hankus arrived at the back door. He greeted everyone with a solemn nod, then he hurried to the downstairs basement, closing the door behind him. The phone rang as Callie got up from the table. Hey, our first call, she exclaimed. She picked up the receiver and talked for a few minutes. When she turned back to the others, her expression revealed her disappointment. That was Sally at the boutique, she told them. They're doing inventory. They don't want me to start work until Monday. Great, Mr. Fraser cried cheerfully. You can help Cody with the porch. I don't think I'm going to be able to be useful today. Callie wasn't a skilled worker like her sister, and she didn't enjoy carpentry. But she knew she had to pitch in, and she knew it was important to get the house in better shape. So after changing into a pair of baggy, faded jeans and an old Gap single pocket t-shirt, she tied her hair back with a rubber band. Then she followed her sister to the front of the house. The sun was already high in the sky, but little sunlight filtered down through the old trees to the front yard. The tree guys are coming later this morning, Cody said, staring down toward the street. They're going to start cutting down some trees in the back. Good. Maybe we'll get a little sunlight in our bedrooms, Callie replied. I was cold last night. She stopped and brushed her sister's shoulder with her hand. Hey, Cody. What? Cody asked coldly. Sorry about last night, Callie said softly. I mean, losing my temper and everything. Cody avoided her sister's eyes. It's okay, she muttered. Let's get to work. Maybe we can drive to town later, Callie suggested. You know, just you and me. Check out the stores, maybe grab some lunch at that little restaurant near school. Cody's eyes lit up. You just want to see your boy again, aren't you? You want to see your boy again. Anthony, she laughed. Maybe, Callie replied. She could feel her face growing hot. Let's see how much we can get. Let's see how much work we can get done, Cody said, turning to the porch. I'm getting paid by the hour, remember? A tall aluminium ladder was already propped up against the edge of the porch roof, stretching above it. The tree limb had been pulled away. The hole it had made in the roof was visible from the ground. I'm going to climb up and pull off all the damaged shingles, Cody said. The limb crashed right through, which means the wood under the shingles is probably rotted. She started up the ladder, her eyes on the roof. I may have to tear the wood planks out too. What should I do? Callie asked, brushing a spider off of her t-shirt sleeve. Just hold the ladder, Cody instructed. Hold it against the porch. Real steady. No problem, Callie told her sister. She grabbed the sides of the aluminium ladder with both hands. Cody doesn't have much respect for my abilities, she told herself, watching her sister climb to the roof. So whenever we work together, I'm the one who holds the ladder. Cody is so confident when it comes to this kind of work, Callie thought, gripping the ladder tightly as her sister continued to climb. Why can't she have the same confidence in everything else? Wow, Cody called down. The shingles are rotted. They all have to go. Be careful, Callie said. Hold the ladder steady. I'm going to see if I can stand on the roof. Cody let go of the ladder and reached for the roof edge. As Cody reached out, Callie felt the ladder start to shake. A gentle tremble at first, then harder, until the aluminum hummed and vibrated. Hey! What's your problem? Cody called sharply. Hold it steady. Callie gripped the sides pieces tightly, but the ladder began pulling away from the porch. Hey, stop! Cody yelled, alarmed. Stop doing that. I'm not doing it, Callie cried. Hold it steady, Cody screamed. Callie pressed all her weight against it, but the ladder continued to swing away from the house. Cody's hands flailed at the air. Help me! The ladder was standing straight up now. Callie struggled to push it back against the wall. Against the roof. But it resisted with more force than Callie had. Callie, help! Stop! Cody's frantic screams pierced the air. Callie raised her eyes to her sister's frightened face, saw her hands squeeze the sides of the ladder. She saw her knees bend, saw the ladder topple back, And then Callie could hold it no more. She let go and jumped out of the way as the ladder fell. Cody screamed all the way down. She landed flat on her back. Her arms and legs bounced once, twice. Her breathing seemed to explode from her body in a whoosh. The ladder clanged as it bounced hard and luckily landed beside her in the tall grass. No! A silent protest escaped. No! A silent protest escaped Callie's lips. How could this happen? She ran to Cody and bent over her. Cody? How could this happen? How? Cody, are you okay? Callie let out a horrified gasp when she saw that her sister wasn't breathing. Chapter 8. A little break, short break. Okay, let's check on our homegirl, shall we? Hope she's okay. Chapter 8. Dear Diary, you can imagine how relieved I feel when Cody opened her eyes. The fell had knocked the wind out of her and she passed out. She had passed out. We finally got her on her feet. She was really groggy. Her back and her neck were sore. She was lucky she didn't break anything. Of course, she blamed me for letting the ladder tilt over. I tried to explain it wasn't my fault. It was horrible when I held the ladder. It felt as if a strong force, much stronger than me, were pushing the ladder backward. That felt really bad, as if I had let Cody down. Cody was so angry and upset. It made me feel even worse. Mom was quiet the rest of the day, and Dad seemed totally freaked. So many accidents, he kept saying over and over, shaking his head. So many accidents. There have been a lot of frightening accidents since we arrived, one right after the other. Thinking about them all gave me the chills. I mean, why did the ladder move back like that? And why did Dad think I bumped his arm and made him stab himself when I hadn't even touched him? And why did the window slam shut on Cody's hands after it had stayed up for a while? Why? I keep telling myself it's just this creepy, run-down old house. And the things that are happening to us are just accidents. I keep telling myself that. But I don't know how long I can go on believing it. I'm really frightened. If one more bad thing happens, I don't know what I'll do. Oh well, it's getting late. I'll close for now. I'm sure tomorrow will be fine. Will be much better. Callie closed the diary and tucked it into her desk drawer. Then she made her way to bed. She yawned wearily, her eyes on the blackness outside the bedroom window. After pulling back the sheet, she slid into bed. She had been asleep for only a few minutes when the soft knocking started again. 3 light taps on the bedroom door. Then a pause. Then 3 more taps. Instantly, Callie crept out of bed. She took a silent step forward toward the door, then listened. 3 more soft taps. This time I'm going to find out who's there, she told herself. 3 more taps. Callie grabbed the doorknob and jerked the door open. Hey! Her voice echoed once down the empty hall. There was no one there. Callie woke up the next morning, Saturday, blinking into the gray light. What was that dark rectangle across the room? Her eyes focused. She realized she was staring into her open closet. She stared at the bare shelves, the white plaster closet walls, empty. The closet was empty. And all of her clothes, jeans, shorts, t-shirts, sweaters, had been taken out and strewn all over her room. They were on the floor, over her desk, and across the windowsill. I don't believe this, she cried out loud. Who was in here? She sat up, startled to alertness. Cody? Cody, were you in my room? She shouted. No reply. She leapt up out of bed and started to dress quickly, picking up a pair of white tensile shorts from the floor, then pulling on a blue and white striped tank top. Then she dressed. After she dressed, she picked up the t-shirts and sweaters from the floor and tossed them onto her bed. Then she quickly ran and brushed through her blonde hair and hurried downstairs. Something weird is going on, Callie shouted, hurrying toward the kitchen. She entered a scene of shouting and confusion. Where's Cubby? James demanded shrilly. Callie's brother was down on his hands and knees, peering under the kitchen table. Cubby? Cubby? He called. Where's that dumb dog? Mr. Hankers hurried past Callie. With a nod and a muttered morning, he closed the basement door behind him. She heard his heavy footsteps clambering down the narrow basement stairs. I don't want eggs, Cody was saying irritably. Her mother snapped the plate up from the table. You told me you wanted scrambled eggs this morning. But these are too runny. They're sick, Cody declared. I'm going to hurl. Really? Fine, I like them runny. I'll eat them, Mrs. Fraser snarled, carrying the plate away. Where's Cubby? James repeated shrilly. Has anyone seen him? I think he went outside, Mrs. Nordstrom said, her face hidden behind a pile of bath towels she was carrying in front of her. I saw him in the backyard a few minutes ago. Are you going to wash those? Mr. Fraser asked. Yes, I am, on my way to the basement, the housekeeper replied. But Mr. Hankers told me the basement is still filled with rats, Mr. Fraser told her. Mrs. Nordstrom kept walking toward the back hallway. I'm not afraid of rats. Rats are afraid of me, she said, and she disappeared, heading down to the washer dryer. Cubby? Did she say Cubby went outside? James demanded. Cubby isn't allowed outside. He pushed open the kitchen door and ran out, calling the dog's name. James, come back! You haven't had your breakfast, Mrs. Fraser called frantically. She blew a strand of hair off of her forehead. Anybody want eggs? Somebody pulled all the clothes out of my closet, Callie reported, managing to get a word in. My room is a total mess. Later, Callie's mother said. Let's get breakfast out of the way, then. But mother, Callie cried sharply. Didn't you hear what I said? What's going on here? Cody demanded. Why is everyone screaming and running around like a maniac? Cubby! James' desperate shouts floated in from the backyard. If that stupid puppy ran away, if that stupid puppy has run off, Mr. Fraser muttered. He set his coffee cup down, frowning. Callie, do me a favor. Go look into the front yard. Maybe Cubby will run around to the front. Callie obediently pushed her chair back from the table and stood up. I wish someone would listen to me, she said angrily. Someone was in my room, and please check the front for the dog, Mr. Fraser urged impatiently, so maybe James will shut up. With an unhappy groan, Callie headed to the front of the house. Has everyone in this house gone totally psycho? She wondered. She pulled open the front door, stepped on the porch, and turned around and gasped. The porch was splattered with blood. Callie raised her hands to her face as she saw the huge blood-scrawled number on the house wall. 99. Which is ironic because we are now in chapter 9. Oh. Okay. Our curtains drawn. Chapter 9. Cody was the first to hear Callie's screams. She burst onto the porch and her eyes bulged wide with horror as she saw the blood streaks. Mr. and Mrs. Fraser stopped just outside the doorway, staring in silent shock. Who? Mrs. Fraser managed to choke out. I knew this house was haunted, Cody said, her voice just above a whisper. I could feel the evil as soon as we arrived. And now it's starting to come out. Do you think it was the neighborhood kids? Mrs. Fraser asked her husband. Some kind of prank? Mr. Fraser swallowed hard, but didn't reply. Callie could see the fear in his eyes. His face appeared pale and drawn in the gray light filtering down through the trees. Is it really blood? Cody asked quietly. Callie took a few steps toward the front door, her legs weak and rubbery. Timidly, she raised a finger to the wall of the house and rubbed it across one of the nines. No, it's not blood, she announced quietly. It's paint. Paint? Mr. Fraser repeated the word as if he'd never heard it before. The ghost is trying to communicate, Cody murmured. Who would smear red paint all over our porch? Callie's father demanded. Mr. Hankers and I spent all yesterday afternoon sanding and putting primer on. Such a mean joke, Mrs. Fraser murmured, chewing on her bottom lip and shaking her head. It's not a joke, Cody replied in a low, solemn voice. It's a message. It's not a joke. Cubby? Cubby? James' voice floated onto the porch. Callie saw her brother wander on into the front yard, trudging along, slowly searching everywhere. Cubby! James turned when he saw everyone huddled on the porch. Come out and help me, he cried in a trembling voice. We have got to look for Cubby. He's run away. Poor James is about to lose it, Callie thought, seeing her brother's chin tremble and tears form in his eyes. I'll help you look, she called to him. Anything to get out of here, Callie told herself. Wait there, James, she called. I'll be right there. We'll search the whole neighborhood. Cubby? Cubby? He continued to call the puppy, his voice becoming more and more shrill. Callie ran upstairs to her room, ignoring the clothing tossed everywhere. She pulled on a pair of white sweat socks and then searched under for a pile of jeans for her sneakers. When she returned to the front yard, Cody and Mr. Fraser were already opening cans of white primer, preparing to paint over the ugly red scrawls. Callie said, I'm going now, and she hurried to join James. Why did Cubby run away? Why did Cubby run away? James demanded as Callie came jogging down the driveway to him. Why did he do that? I'm sure he didn't get far, Callie told her brother, tenderly putting a hand on his slender shoulder. Come on. We'll find him. Keeping her hand on his shoulder, Callie guided James down to the street. We'll search all the front and backyards, she said. Keep your eyes peeled. As soon as they stepped away from the yard, sunlight appeared. The morning sky was cloudless and bright. The air instantly became warm and fresh smelling. Cubby! Cubby! James called the dog's name as Callie led him from house to house. The houses are all pretty old and ramshackle on this street, Callie noticed. But none of them, she realized, unhappily, were as run down and as covered in darkness as her new house. Is that Cubby? James cried, pointing to a front lawn choked with tall weeds. Callie turned her gaze to follow where he was pointing. No, sorry, it's only a squirrel, she reported. James uttered an unhappy moan. Don't get discouraged, Callie said. We'll find him. Let's check out this backyard. The square-shaped brick house was dark and empty, but as Callie followed her brother up the driveway, she heard the buzz of a power lawnmower. As she and James turned the corner behind the garage, a boy came into view. He had his back to them as he pushed the mower. It cracked and roared as he guided it through the tall grass. I don't see Cubby, James shouted over the noise. I don't see Cubby, James shouted over the noise. Callie's eyes were on the dark-haired boy. As he turned the lawnmower and started toward them, she recognized him. Anthony, Callie called. Callie shouted, smiling. He stopped pushing but kept both his hands on the mower handle. His eyes narrowed in surprise. Hi, he called. He bent down and shut off the mower. Anthony, do you live here? Callie called, jogging over to him. He gazed hard at her, wiping his hands and on the legs of his jeans. I remember you, he said. From the restaurant, right? Callie realized he didn't remember her name. Callie, she told him. Callie Frazier. My sister and I. Oh, right. He smiled. How's it going? He wiped his forehead with the sleeve of his t-shirt. Callie saw that he had blades of cut grass clinging to the bottoms of his jeans. Somehow blades of grass had become tangled in his dark hair. That's my brother James, Callie said, pointing. Did you see a dog? James demanded, hanging back by the garage. A little black lab? Anthony shook his head. No. We're searching everywhere for him, Callie explained. Do you live here? No way, Anthony replied seriously. His answer caught Callie by surprise. Let's go, James urged. He ran over to Callie and tugged at her arm. Let's check out the next yard. In a second, Callie replied, removing her arm from her brother's grasp. She turned back to Anthony. What do you mean? Anthony's dark eyes remained serious. My family is too superstitious to live on Fear Street, he said. I don't understand, Callie confessed. Oh, he's cute, she thought. She found herself thinking. Even when he's sweaty and covered with grass. Let's go, James insisted, tugging on Callie's arm again. Okay, Callie replied. Anthony wiped his forehead again with his sleeve. Hot today, he muttered, but I'm almost finished. Where do you live? On this block? Callie nodded. Yeah, 99 Fear Street. His dark eyes locked onto hers. You're kidding, right? No, I'm not kidding, Callie replied, confused. What is your problem, Anthony? That's my address, 99 Fear Street. He swallowed hard. He continued to stare at her. Callie, he said quietly, don't you know about that house? Didn't they tell you? Chapter 10. And a sip of tea. Tell me what? Callie demanded. Let's go, James cried, pulling her arm hard with both of his hands. Come on, Callie, you promised. Okay, I'm coming, James, she said sharply. She turned back to Anthony. You're almost finished here. Want to come over for lunch? She blurted out. You can tell me about the house. Anthony raised both his hands as if shielding himself. I don't think so, he said, a nervous smile forming on his lips. I mean, are you actually afraid to come to my house? Callie challenged him. He grinned sheepishly. Well, not really. I mean, don't be silly. Come over as soon as you're finished, Callie told him. She tossed her hair back behind her shoulders. I can't wait to hear your story, she added lightly. But Anthony's expression turned solemn. I don't think you'll like it, he said softly. I really don't. I really don't. Cubby? Cubby! James frantically called for the dog as he pulled Callie into the next yard. I can't believe you invited him here, Cody exclaimed angrily. Look at him. I've been painting the porch all morning. Look at me. I'm gonna be painting the porch all morning. I'm a total mess. He isn't coming to see you, Callie replied nastily. Why did Cody always have to give her a hard time? Couldn't she forget her jealousy for 1 minute? Well, Mom and Dad aren't home. They went shopping at the mall. What are you going to make for lunch? Cody demanded. I'll make tuna fish sandwiches, Callie told her. And I think there is some egg salad from yesterday. What difference does it make? I want to hear Anthony's story about the house. Don't you? You're not interested in his story, you're interested in his bod, Cody accused him. Silence for a moment, then they both burst out laughing. They never could stay angry at each other for long. Despite their differences, they're still sisters. Twin sisters. Callie reached out and rubbed a smear of white paint off of Cody's cheek. You look fine, she told her sister. I'm covered with paint. I'm going to change out of these shorts, Cody said, I'm going to change out of these shorts, Cody said, hurrying toward the front stairs. No luck finding Cubby, huh? No luck, Callie replied sadly. Poor James. He's upstairs probably crying his eyes out. I told him we'd search again after lunch. Maybe I'll come with you, Cody called from the stairway. I've got to get away from the paint fumes. The front doorbell rang. It's Anthony, Callie exclaimed. Cody disappeared up the stairs. Callie hurried to answer the door. Be careful, wet paint, she warned. Anthony entered the house reluctantly. He brushed the blades of grass from his hair. He had previously washed his hands and face with water from a garden hose. The front of his t-shirt was soaked. As Callie led the way to the kitchen, he peered around the living room. Kind of dark in here, he murmured. You must be hungry after all that mowing. I've got egg salad, sandwiches, and potato chips, Callie told him. Sounds good. He had his hands shoved in his jean pockets. He looked so uncomfortable. Maybe we could eat outside? It's such a pretty day. Callie laughed. You really don't want to be in this house, do you? She accused playfully. Anthony's reply was solemn. No, I don't. I really don't. Callie, Cody, and Anthony sat in the shade of a big apple tree in the backyard and ate their lunch. Callie brought a sandwich up to James, but he insisted he wasn't hungry and slammed the door in her face. We're cutting down some of these trees, Cody told Anthony. You know, to let in some sunlight. It's so dark back here, Callie said, shaking her head. The sun can't break through. Anthony concentrated on his sandwich. The grass hasn't been cut in ages, he commented. Maybe your dad would like to hire me to mow it? Callie chuckled. You sure you aren't too scared to work here? Tell us the story, Cody insisted, setting her paper plate down beside her on the grass. About the house. Tell us the scary story, Cody insisted. Oh wait, no, tell us the scary story. Oh, okay, it's a story. My bad. Here we go. It's not a story. It's true, Anthony replied seriously. He locked his dark eyes on Callie's. A guy came to our class. He works in the library. He's the town historian. He told us about it. He said he told you about our house, Cody interrupted shrilly. Anthony nodded. Yeah, 99 Fear Street. What about it? Is it haunted? Cody demanded, glancing at Callie. Callie leaned back against the tree trunk, her arms crossed in front of her. Tell the story, Anthony, she instructed him. I want to see if you can keep a straight face. I'm not putting you on, he said. Really? This historian told us the whole thing. I'm not making it up. He shifted his weight, crossing his long legs in front of him. Cody had a plate full of potato chips. She kept shoving them into her mouth. After one after the other, eagerly waiting for Anthony's story. There was this guy who lived in Shadyside about 100 years ago, Anthony began, brushing an ant off of his arm. His name was Simon Fear. Is that who the street was named for? Cody asked. Stop interrupting him, Callie snapped. Yeah, Anthony replied. You know that burned house on the hill across the cemetery? That was Simon Fear's house. I went by there yesterday, Cody said. I can't believe no one's torn it down. You know, cleared it away? People are afraid to, Anthony said darkly. Simon Fear was a bad dude. A real bad dude. And so was his wife. I forget her name. I think it was Angelica. Anyway, this was all woods back then, and they lived in a big mansion in the woods and did all kinds of horrible things to people. You mean killed them? Callie asked. There are all kinds of weird stories about them. Some people say they tortured people and even killed some. Yuck, Cody whispered. She set down her plate of potato chips. What do the Fears have to do with our house? Callie asked impatiently. Well, this town historian told us that the workers started digging the foundation on this lot. It was about 30 years ago. He said they dug up a bunch of old coffins. Coffins? In our yard? Cody exclaimed shrilly. They found all these old coffins with the Fear family crest on the lids. There were bodies inside them. Skeletons, I mean. The police figured this was some kind of burying place, you know, for victims of Simon Fear and his wife. A secret place where they buried the people they killed. Wow, Cody uttered excitedly. Callie made a disgusting face. Happy Halloween, she said sarcastically, rolling her eyes. I'm not making it up, Anthony insisted. I haven't even told you the really gross part yet. The gross part? Tell us, Cody urged, grabbing a handful of potato chips. You won't like it, Anthony warned. You swore... What? You swore? Oh, you sure know how to build suspense, Callie said dryly. She didn't want to let on to Anthony that his story really was frightening her. She wrapped her arms more tightly, protectively, around herself. Well, the town historian told us about the family that built your house more than 30 years ago, Anthony said, gazing through the tree at the gray shingled house bathed in darkness. He raised the Coke can to his lips and took a long drink. Then he continued, his eyes still focused on the house. The guy who had the house built on this lot had a wife and two kids, a son and a daughter. When the workers dug up the old graves, they asked him what they should do. He told them to keep working. He said he didn't care about a bunch of old bones. So the house was finished. Anthony continued. And the guy brought his family to see it. They were going to move in a few weeks, and he wanted to show it to them. When they arrived, he heard workers finishing up on one of the upstairs rooms. He went up to see what they were doing. He told his wife and two kids to wait downstairs. He didn't want them to see the upstairs until it was finished. So they sat down on the floor and waited for him. The guy was upstairs only for a few minutes, but when he got back down, he found Anthony's voice trailed off. What? Cody demanded impatiently. What did he find? Callie took a deep breath and held it, trying to slow her racing heart. His family was still sitting in the living room. Anthony continued slowly. But they were dead. Their heads were missing. What? Callie shrieked. She saw Cody's eyes bulge open wide. Her mouth dropped open, but no sound came out. All their guts were pouring out. Anthony continued, his face half hidden in the deep shade of the old tree. It looked like their heads had been torn off their necks. Where were their heads? Callie demanded, in a hushed whisper. Anthony shrugged. The town historian said the heads were gone. They weren't in the house. They were never found. So, what happened? Cody asked, shuddering. What happened then? What happened to the guy? What happened to the guy? Anthony asked. He shrugged. I don't know. I don't know what happened to him, but the house just sat there. No one ever moved in. No one wanted to move in. The whole town knew the story about what happened to the wife and the two kids, and about the 100-year-old graves, and so the house stayed empty. No one ever lived there. Until us, Cody declared with a shiver. Callie chewed on her bottom lip as she studied Anthony's face. Why are you staring at me like that? He demanded edgily. I keep waiting for you to smile, she told him. I keep waiting for you to break up, to tell us it's all a joke. It's no joke, Anthony murmured, his dark eyes glowing as he returned Callie's stare. I knew there was something evil about this house, Cody declared. I knew it from the moment we arrived. All three of them stared at the back of the house. The windows all reflected in the dark trees. But I don't believe in ghosts, Callie cried defiantly, as if directing the words to the ghosts themselves. I don't believe in ghosts and evil spirits. I don't either, Anthony replied quietly. But he stopped short when he heard the screams. They all heard them. James' shrill screams coming from the house. Chapter 11. James! What's wrong? Callie shrieked. She leaped to her feet and frantically started running toward the house. She had a hideous picture in her mind, a picture of James' head being ripped off his body by a dark, ghoulish monster. James? Are you all right, James? Cody and Anthony were right behind her. The shrill cries continued, and then James burst out of the kitchen door. The screen door slammed behind him. Where is he? James called. Where is he? Callie watched her brother run desperately around the backyard, peering behind the trees, under shrubs. James, what are you doing? She cried as she caught up to him. She grabbed his shoulders and forced him to stand still. Where is he? Where is he? James repeated, almost a chant. Where's who? Callie demanded. Cubby, I heard him, James told her, jerking out of her grasp, continuing his wild search. James! I heard him barking, James insisted. I was in the kitchen. I heard Cubby barking. Callie turned to Cody and Anthony. Did you hear a dog? They both shook their heads, their eyes revealing surprise and confusion. We didn't hear any barking, Callie said, following her brother as he ran to the tall hedge growing wild along the side of their yard. I heard him, James insisted, his voice tight and trembling. I heard Cubby, cupping his hands over his mouth as he shouted. You heard him in the kitchen? Cody asked. Maybe he's inside the house. Maybe you only thought he was outside. James hesitated, his eyes narrowing thoughtfully. Come on, inside, Cody urged. Let's check it out. With Cody leading the way, they ran into the kitchen. Callie carefully pulled the screen door shut behind her. What was that racket? She saw Mrs. Nordstorm leaning over the sink and recognized the grinding roar of the garbage disposal. Mrs. Nordstorm, did you hear Cubby barking? Callie shouted. The housekeeper clicked off the disposal and turned off the water. She turned to Callie. What did you say? Callie didn't need to repeat the question. She heard the high-pitched yips of the dog. Cubby! Hear it? James demanded eagerly. Everyone heard it. Someone go and bring that dog in. Someone go and bring that dog in, Mrs. Nordstorm said. She waddled out of the room. It's defiantly coming from outside. It's definitely coming out from outside, Anthony said, listening hard. The little dog sounded excited, frightened. Callie lingered on the back steps. She couldn't hear Cubby's excited yips anymore. They all stopped to listen. Silence. James' shrill voice was the only sound as he shouted the dog's name again and again. I can't hear him, Cody declared. He must be in the house, Anthony suggested. He started back toward the kitchen. Cody and Callie followed him. James remained in the backyard, scurrying frantically back and forth, shouting Cubby's name. Back at the kitchen, they could hear the little dog's high-pitched barking clearly. It really sounds like it's coming from the backyard, Callie said fretfully. But we didn't hear it out there, Anthony replied, shaking his head. Let's search the house, Cody suggested. She pulled open the broom closet. Cubby, are you in there? No sign of him. Then the excited yips continued, mixed with sad howls. Callie pushed the screen door open and stuck her head out. The sound disappeared. James was still searching desperately at the side of the garage. Cody and Anthony were in the dining room, bending low to peek under the table and sideboard. I can hear him, Cody said, wrinkling her face in frustration, but I can't see him. Cubby! Here, boy! Cubby! Anthony called. He glanced at his watch. Oh wow, I'm late. I've got another lawn to mow. Callie walked him to the front door. Want to go to a movie or something next Saturday night? He asked as they stepped onto the porch. Callie was concentrating so hard on the dog's barking, it took her a moment to respond. Great, she replied. Finally. Come pick me up, okay? She watched him disappear down the driveway. Then she returned to the kitchen, where she found Cody leaning wearily against the counter, her arms crossed over her chest. The barking stopped, Cody reported. Callie could hear James crying in the backyard. Where is he? Where's Cubby? James threw himself down on the grass and started to wail and sob. This is so weird, Callie said fretfully. Where is that dumb dog? She and Cody heard the car crunching up the gravel drive at the same time, I bet. Good, it's Mom and Dad, Cody said, hurrying past Callie to the door. I have to tell them Anthony's story about this house. No, wait, Callie grabbed Cody's arm. Stop. Don't tell them, Callie urged. James' unhappy wails rose up from this backyard. Cody's eyes opened wide in surprise. Huh? What do you mean? They're already so upset about everything, Callie said hurriedly, her eyes on the door. And now they have to deal with James. But they have to know, Cody started. Callie shook her head. Wait a while. Poor Dad, he's been so nervous and strange. Totally freaked by everything. I think we should give him a break and not trouble him. Cody glared at her sister. You still don't believe this house is haunted? Do you? She said accusingly. You still don't believe there's something evil? I don't know what to believe, Callie told her. But I do know we shouldn't upset Dad anymore. She stopped talking when she saw her parents walking toward the house, their arms filled with packages. She and Cody rushed out to help them. What's wrong with James? Mrs. Fraser demanded, handing her packages to Callie. Why is he crying? We still can't find Cubby, Cody explained, glancing at Callie. We can hear him barking, but we can't find him. Huh? Behind his glasses, Mr. Fraser's eyes went wide with surprise. I don't understand. We don't either, Cody replied, sighing. We don't either. Late the next night, they didn't find the dog. Oh my god. Alright. Late the next night, Callie finished writing her diary. Yawning, she closed her diary and replaced it in her desk drawer. I think there's a little bit of grammar mistakes here. I think it was late that same night, and she placed her diary in her desk drawer. Usually, writing in the diary helped her relax and get her ready to go to sleep. But that night, because she had written about the search for James's puppy and about Anthony and his strange, frightening story, Callie felt far from relaxed. As she lay in bed, staring up at the ceiling, she tried to force all unpleasant thoughts from her mind. She tried to think only about Anthony, about how cute he was, how he seemed to be such a great guy. But she couldn't concentrate. Her mind kept leaping to other matters, to the troubling things that had been happening to her family since moving to 99 Fear Street. Were Cody and Anthony right? Was there some sort of evil curse on this house? Was it really haunted? Callie didn't want to believe it. Feeling tense and jittery, Callie sat up. An idea flashed in her mind. She stared across the dark room at the closed bedroom door. Every night, someone, or something, had knocked on the door. The same soft, frightening taps. Every night. Every night, someone, same frightening every night. Okay. And every night, Callie had crept to the door, pulled it open, and found no one there. Tonight, I'll be ready, she decided. Tiptoeing to the door, tonight I'm going to solve the mystery. I'm wide awake anyway, she told herself. There's no point just lying in bed, thinking scary thoughts. She wheeled her desk chair over to the door and lowered herself into it. Perched tensely in the chair, she stared at the door and waited. When the knocking starts, I'll be ready, she told herself nervously, tapping the padded arms of the chair. As soon as I hear the first knock, I'll pull open the door instantly. And what will I find? She asked herself. A ghost? An evil creature? An invisible spirit? Nothing but air? What will I find? She heard creaking sounds, the banging of a shutter, the soft flap of the curtains at her bedroom window. The usual sounds of the house at night. Tapping her fingers on her chair arm, she waited, listening to the night house sounds, listening to the rush of wind through the trees outside, listening to her own shallow breathing. She didn't have to wait long. Tap, tap, tap. The gentle knocking on the other side of the door, just inches from her. Tap, tap, tap. Callie sucked in a deep breath and rose to her feet. Then she jerked open the door and stared out. "You!" she shrieked. Chapter 12. This might be my last chapter. Okay. The ghostly figure tried to move away, her long white dress sweeping over the floor as she turned to run. But Callie grabbed her arm and held onto it. "Cody!" she screamed. "It's you!" "Let go!" Cody demanded. But Callie tightened her grip and pulled her sister into the bedroom. "Why, Cody?" she cried. "Why have you been doing this to me?" "You wouldn't believe me," Cody replied, breaking free of Callie's grasp. Her long night dress caught and she stumbled over the desk chair beside the doorway. With a low cry of surprise, she caught her balance on the doorframe. "You wouldn't believe me," she repeated, her green eyes burning into Callie's. "I had to make you believe." "Believe what?" Callie demanded shrilly. "Believe that there's something evil in this house." Cody shot back in a hushed, angry whisper. "You laughed at me. You said I was a jerk. But I know I'm right, Callie. All the horrible accidents, Dad and the knife, my ladder falling over, they weren't accidents. I know there's something haunting this house, something evil." Callie rolled her eyes and let out an angry groan. "So you tapped on my door every night to make me think you were a ghost. That makes a lot of sense, Cody." "I thought it would convince you," Cody replied, lowering her eyes. She nervously tossed her hair back with her hand. "I was desperate. I wanted you to believe. I wanted you to be on my side. So I hunted you." Callie shook her head. "I don't believe it. My own sister," she muttered. "And did you pull all my clothes out off of the closet too?" Cody nodded. "Yeah, and I smeared the red paint all over the porch and painted the number 99. She confessed. "You what?" Callie shrieked in disbelief. "I figured it was no big deal. I knew we had to paint a top coat on the porch anyway," Cody explained with a shrug. "I was desperate, Callie. Don't you understand? I was desperate to get you on my side. A little red paint didn't matter." "Didn't matter?" Callie cried furiously. "Didn't matter? You nearly gave Dad a heart attack." "Don't exaggerate," Cody cried. "I'm not exaggerating," Callie replied heatedly. "Did you see how stressed out Dad was tonight because of James and the puppy? Did you see how worried he looked? You know what? I heard him talking to himself tonight." "Huh?" Cody's face revealed her surprise. "In the den," Callie continued, starting to pace back and forth in front of her sister. He didn't know I was there. He was talking to himself. He was talking to himself, Cody, muttering about Cubby and about the house. It it was really scary. Poor Dad, Cody murmured. Shaking her head, she dropped down onto Callie's bed. Stop pacing like that, please, she begged. I can't believe you tried to frighten me, Callie said, ignoring the plea. Why didn't you just come in and talk to me? Talk to you? Cody let out a bitter laugh. Every time I started talking about the evil in this house, you just made fun of me. There was no way I could talk to you. Callie glared furiously at her sister, but trying to make me believe make me believe that a ghost. There is a ghost, Cody insisted, jumping from the bed and grabbing Callie by both shoulders. You've got to believe me. There is something horrible in this house. You heard Anthony's story. You heard what he said. Callie sighed. Yeah, I heard it, she repeated wearily. But you know how stories get handed down. You know how people try to make them more frightening than they are. Callie gently removed her sister's hands from her shoulders. So far, Cody, the only ghost I've seen in this house is you. Cody let out an angry cry. I explained to you. I'll make you a deal, Callie said, suddenly feeling very tired. Deal? What kind of deal? Cody said, suspiciously. I won't tell Mom and Dad what you've been doing, Callie offered. I won't tell them that you were the one who painted the porch. If what? Cody interrupted. If you just drop this ghost stuff for a little while. Callie continued. Just give it a rest. For a week. Let things settle down. That's all. Cody frowned and avoided Callie's hard stare. Can you do it? Callie asked. Can you? Do I have a choice? Her sister replied grudgingly. But then she added, Okay, Callie, I'll try. Half an hour later, Callie still couldn't fall asleep. She glanced at her clock radio. Nearly 1:30. I'm going to look like death for my first day at work, she thought miserably. She sat up and lowered her feet to the floor. If only I could turn my mind off, she thought. If only I could stop thinking about Cody and her ghosts. If only I could stop thinking about those poor people 30 years ago, sitting in my living room, sitting right downstairs with their heads ripped off. If only I could turn it all off and get to sleep. She rubbed her cheeks. They were burning. So hot, she thought. I'm so hot. She stood up and made her way through the darkness out into the hall. The bathroom was 2 doors down. Tiptoeing over the creaky floorboards, she made her way to the bedroom and clicked on the light. I'll splash a little cold water on my face, she told herself. Then I'll feel cooler. Better. I'll be able to sleep. Yawning, she turned on the tap. Closing her eyes, she cupped both her hands under the faucet, then splashed the liquid onto her face. It took a few seconds for the putrid smell to reach her nostrils. And then, staring into the gurgling sink, Callie opened her mouth and gagged. Did I really end it there? Okay. I shall end things there. For tonight. I have to wait for another spooky Sunday. Oh, maybe Sunday's too far. I'll continue on Wednesday. Anyway, thanks for staying into the stream as long as you did. Whoever did. Hope you have a great rest of your day and or night. But for me, I'll be saying good night for now.